Most people waste money on supplements that don't work, but two actually do, and when you combine them, something interesting happens. I'm talking about creatine and whey protein, the two most researched supplements in sports nutrition history. Thousands of studies, decades of data, millions of users, and yet most people still get the dosing wrong, believe outdated myths, and miss the real benefits hiding in plain sight. By the end of this guide, you'll know exactly how to use this stack, when to take what, and whether it's even right for you. No fluff, no bro science, just what works. Let's start with creatine. If you've heard anything about supplements, you've heard about this one. Creatine is a naturally occurring compound made from 3 amino acids: arginine, glycine, and methionine. Your body produces about 1 to 2 grams daily, and you get another gram or so from eating meat and fish. It's stored primarily in your muscles as phosphocreatine, and here's why that matters. When you're lifting heavy, sprinting, or doing anything explosive, your muscles use ATP for energy. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, and it's basically your cellular battery. Problem is, you only have enough ATP stored for about 10 seconds of maximum effort. That's where phosphocreatine comes in. It rapidly donates a phosphate group to regenerate ATP, giving you a few more seconds of peak power. More creatine stored means more phosphocreatine available, means more ATP regeneration, means you can push harder for longer. It's that simple. And the research backs this up hard. Meta-analyses show creatine supplementation increases strength by roughly 8%, power output by up to 14%, and allows for more total reps before failure. Over weeks and months, that extra volume adds up to real muscle growth. Now let's talk whey protein. This one's less mysterious but equally misunderstood. Whey is one of the 2 main proteins found in milk, the other being casein. When you make cheese, the liquid part that separates out is whey. It used to be considered a waste product until someone realized it was protein gold. Whey is a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body can't make on its own. But what makes whey special is its amino acid profile and digestion speed. It's particularly rich in leucine, the amino acid that acts like a light switch for muscle protein synthesis. When leucine levels in your blood spike, it signals mTOR, a critical pathway that tells your muscles to start building. Whey digests fast, typically within 30 to 60 minutes, causing a rapid rise in blood amino acids. This makes it ideal post-workout when your muscles are primed to absorb nutrients. Studies consistently show that consuming adequate protein, especially around training, significantly enhances muscle growth and recovery compared to training without sufficient protein intake. The typical recommendation for someone training regularly is roughly 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight daily. For a 180-pound person, that's about 126 to 180 grams per day. Whey makes hitting that target convenient. Here's where it gets interesting. When you combine creatine and whey, are you just taking 2 good things separately, or is there actual synergy? The research suggests both. They work through different mechanisms, so they're not redundant. Creatine primarily boosts your performance capacity during training, allowing more volume and intensity. Whey provides the raw building blocks and signals for recovery and growth after training. Together, they cover both sides of the muscle building equation, stimulus and recovery. Some studies have directly compared creatine alone, whey alone, and creatine plus whey. The combination groups typically show superior gains in lean mass and strength compared to either supplement alone. Why? Because better performance in the gym from creatine leads to more microtrauma and adaptation signals, and whey ensures you have the materials and hormonal response to capitalize on that stimulus. It's like having a better hammer and better nails. Both matter. But let's address dosing, because this is where most people either underdose, overdose, or time things poorly. For creatine, the classic protocol involves a loading phase followed by maintenance. Loading means taking around 20 grams daily, split into 4 5-gram doses for 5 to 7 days. This saturates your muscle creatine stores quickly. After that, you maintain with 3 to 5 grams daily. However, research shows you can skip the loading phase entirely and just take 3 to 5 grams per day from the start. It'll take about 3 to 4 weeks to reach full saturation instead of 1 week, but you'll get there. No loading phase means less bloating and less cost. Both approaches work. The key is consistency. Creatine works by building up in your muscles over time, not acutely. Taking it once in a while does nothing. As for timing, It doesn't matter as much as people think. Early research suggested post-workout was slightly better, but the differences are minimal. Just take it daily at whatever time you'll remember. Some people prefer post-workout mixed with their protein shake for convenience. That's perfectly fine. For whey protein, dosing depends on your total daily protein needs. A typical serving is 20 to 40 grams, delivering roughly 25 to 30 grams of actual protein, depending on the concentrate versus isolate form. If you're getting enough protein from whole foods, you might not need whey at all. But most people find it challenging to hit their protein targets with food alone, especially if they're busy or have high requirements. Whey is convenient, cost-effective per gram of protein and tastes decent. Timing matters more for whey than creatine, but not as much as the fitness industry wants you to believe. The so-called anabolic window, that magical 30-minute post-workout period where you supposedly had to chug a shake or lose your gains, has been largely debunked. What matters more is total daily protein intake spread reasonably throughout the day. That said, having protein within a few hours post-workout is still smart because your muscles are more sensitive to amino acids during that period. A practical approach: have a whey shake within 1 to 2 hours after training and distribute the rest of your protein across 3 to 4 meals throughout the day. Each meal should include around 25 to 40 grams of protein to maximize muscle protein synthesis. Let me give you a sample day to make this concrete. Imagine you weigh 180 pounds and train in the afternoon. You'd aim for about 140 grams of protein daily. Breakfast, eggs and oatmeal, roughly 30 grams protein. Mid-morning snack, Greek yogurt, 20 grams. Lunch, chicken breast with rice and veggies, 40 grams. Afternoon training session, you take your 5 grams of creatine either before or during. Immediately post-workout, whey shake with 30 grams protein, maybe with a banana for carbs. Dinner, salmon with quinoa and salad, 30 grams protein. Evening snack if needed, cottage cheese, 20 grams. That's 170 grams, comfortably above your target. The creatine is consistent daily, and the whey strategically placed post-workout, but also contributing to overall daily intake. Simple, sustainable, effective. Now let's bust some myths, because there's a ton of misinformation floating around. Myth 1: creatine is a steroid. Completely false. Creatine is a naturally occurring compound found in food. It has zero hormonal effects. It doesn't raise testosterone, doesn't shut down natural production, and isn't banned by any major sports organization. Myth 2: creatine damages your kidneys. This myth won't die, but the research is clear. In healthy individuals, creatine supplementation does not harm kidney function. Dozens of long-term studies, some lasting years, show no adverse effects on kidney markers. However, if you already have kidney disease, you should avoid creatine and consult your doctor. For everyone else, it's safe. Myth 3: you need to cycle creatine. Nope, your body doesn't develop a tolerance or down-regulate its own production significantly. You can take creatine year-round. Some people cycle off for a few weeks purely as a mental reset, but there's no physiological reason to do so. Myth 4: creatine makes you bloated and puffy. There's some truth here, but it's exaggerated. Creatine does cause your muscle cells to retain more water, which is actually part of how it works. This intracellular water retention can add 2 to 4 pounds initially, but it's in the muscle, not under your skin. You're not getting fat or bloated. You might look slightly fuller, which most people consider a good thing. If you're an athlete who needs to make weight for competition, plan accordingly. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Myth 5: more protein is always better. Not quite. Research shows that muscle protein synthesis maxes out at around 0.4 to 0.5 grams per pound of body weight per meal, and total daily intake beyond about 1 gram per pound doesn't provide additional muscle-building benefits for most people. Eating 300 grams of protein daily when you weigh 160 pounds isn't going to build more muscle than 160 grams. It's just expensive pee. Myth 6: you must take whey immediately after training or you'll lose gains. We covered this already, but it bears repeating. The anabolic window is more like an anabolic garage door that stays open for several hours. Having protein within a few hours post-workout is smart, but obsessing over the exact minute is unnecessary. Total daily intake and consistency matter far more. Myth 7: whey protein makes you bulky. Protein is a macronutrient, not a magic muscle potion. You can't accidentally get bulky from drinking protein shakes any more than you can accidentally get rich from depositing paychecks. Building significant muscle requires progressive overload training, caloric surplus, adequate recovery, and time. Lots of time. Whey supports that process but doesn't cause it by itself. Okay, quick pause. If you're finding this valuable and you're still with me, do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. I know, everyone asks for it, but here's why it actually matters. The algorithm sees engagement, pushes this video to more people who need real information instead of supplement company marketing nonsense, and that helps us create more content like this. It takes you half a second, and while you're down there, subscribe if you haven't already. We drop evidence-based guides every week on training, nutrition, supplementation, all backed by actual research, not just what sells. You'll want to catch those. Seriously, subscribe. Now, let's talk about safety and side effects more deeply, because you deserve the full picture. Creatine is one of the most studied supplements ever, with research going back to the early 90s. The safety profile is excellent. Common reported side effects are minimal and typically limited to mild gastrointestinal discomfort if you take too much at once or don't drink enough water. Solution: spread your doses throughout the day if needed and stay hydrated. Some people report muscle cramps, but controlled studies haven't found a significant link between creatine and cramping. It's likely coincidental or related to training intensity increases. The water weight gain we discussed is real but not harmful. Rare reports of hair loss exist, theorized to be connected to a slight increase in DHT, a testosterone derivative. However, research on this is mixed and inconclusive. If you're genetically predisposed to male pattern baldness, you might want to monitor this, but for most people it's not a concern. Pregnant or breastfeeding women should avoid creatine simply because there's insufficient research in those populations. Same goes for adolescents under 18. There's no evidence of harm. But there's also not enough long-term data to say it's definitively safe for developing bodies. When in doubt, stick to whole foods for younger athletes. Whey protein is also very safe for most people. It's literally just dried milk protein. However, some individuals need to be cautious. If you're lactose intolerant, whey concentrate contains lactose and might cause bloating, gas, or stomach upset. Switch to whey isolate, which has almost all lactose removed, or consider a plant-based protein instead. If you have a dairy allergy, obviously avoid whey entirely. There are excellent alternatives like pea, rice, or hemp protein blends. Some people worry about kidney stress from high protein intake. Again, in healthy individuals, there's no evidence that high protein intake harms kidney function. Your kidneys are designed to process protein. However, if you have pre-existing kidney disease, high protein diets can exacerbate the condition. If that's you, work with a nephrologist or registered dietitian to determine safe protein levels. Another concern is acne. Some people report breakouts from whey, possibly due to the insulin-like growth factor or the dairy content affecting hormone levels. This isn't universal, but if you notice a correlation, try switching to plant-based protein or reducing whey frequency. One more note: if you're taking medications or have medical conditions like diabetes, check with your doctor before adding any supplements. Creatine can slightly affect blood sugar, and whey affects insulin response. Probably not a problem, but better safe than sorry. Who should consider this stack? Pretty much anyone engaged in regular resistance training who wants to maximize muscle growth and strength gains. That includes recreational lifters, athletes, bodybuilders, and older adults trying to maintain muscle mass. Creatine has been shown to benefit not just young men, which is who most early research focused on, but also women and older populations. Muscle loss with aging, called sarcopenia, is a major health issue, and creatine combined with resistance training can help combat that. Whey protein is similarly beneficial across demographics. The leucine content is particularly valuable for older adults whose muscles become less sensitive to protein's anabolic signal. Higher protein intakes and fast-digesting proteins like whey help overcome this resistance. For women, there's sometimes hesitation around creatine due to the water weight gain. Understand that it's temporary and intramuscular, not subcutaneous fat. If your goal is strength, performance, or muscle development, the benefits far outweigh a few pounds of muscle hydration. Vegetarians and vegans benefit even more from creatine supplementation because they get almost zero from their diet. Meat and fish are the only significant food sources, so plant-based eaters start with lower baseline stores. Supplementing brings them up to the levels omnivores have naturally. Who should avoid this stack? People with kidney disease should skip creatine and potentially moderate protein intake under medical supervision. Anyone with a dairy allergy needs to avoid whey or switch to a non-dairy alternative. If you're not training, honestly, you probably don't need either supplement. Creatine's benefits are most pronounced when you're actually engaging in high-intensity, short-duration efforts like lifting. If you're sedentary, it won't hurt, but you won't see much benefit either. Similarly, if you're already hitting your protein targets easily through whole foods, adding whey is just extra expense, without extra benefit. Pregnant or breastfeeding women should stick to whole food nutrition and skip supplements unless specifically recommended by their healthcare provider. Adolescents under 18 should focus on eating well and training smart. Their natural growth and hormone levels are already optimized for muscle building. They don't need the edge from supplements, and we don't have enough long-term safety data in that age group to recommend it confidently. Let's talk food versus supplements because this is crucial. Supplements are exactly what the name implies, supplemental. They supplement a solid nutrition foundation. They don't replace it. You cannot out-supplement a terrible diet. If you're eating mostly processed junk, not getting enough sleep and training inconsistently, creatine and whey won't save you. Fix the basics first. Whole foods provide not just protein, but also vitamins, minerals, fiber, and phytonutrients that powders don't. A chicken breast gives you protein plus B vitamins, selenium, and phosphorus. A piece of salmon gives you protein plus omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, and more. Whey powder gives you protein, period. So prioritize real food. That said, supplements have their place. Convenience is real. Not everyone has time to cook chicken breasts 4 times a day. A protein shake takes 30 seconds. Cost can also favor supplements. Whey protein is often cheaper per gram than animal protein sources, especially quality ones. And for vegetarians, vegans, or people with restrictive diets, hitting protein targets without supplementation can be genuinely difficult. Same logic applies to creatine. Yes, you get some from food, but you'd need to eat multiple pounds of red meat daily to get 5 grams of creatine. That's impractical, expensive, and comes with way more calories and saturated fat than most people want. A teaspoon of creatine powder costs pennies and gives you everything you need. Use whole foods as your foundation. Use supplements to fill gaps, add convenience, and optimize specific goals. Now let's bring this all together with a practical, science-backed protocol you can start today. First, assess your baseline. Calculate your daily protein needs. Multiply your body weight in pounds by 0.7 to 1.0, depending on training intensity. Higher end if you're training hard 6 days a week, lower end if you're more moderate. Track your food for a few days to see where you actually are. If you're significantly under your target, that's where whey comes in. Add 1 or 2 shakes daily to close the gap. Aim to distribute protein across 3 to 4 meals, with roughly 25 to 40 grams per meal. For creatine, start with 3 to 5 grams daily. You can load with 20 grams for a week if you want faster saturation, but it's optional. Mix it in your post-workout shake, your morning coffee, or just water. Doesn't matter. Consistency matters. Take it every single day. If you miss a day, no big deal. Just continue the next day. Don't try to double up. Hydration is important with creatine. Aim for at least half your body weight in ounces of water daily. If you weigh 180 pounds, that's 90 ounces minimum. More if you're sweating heavily from training. This helps with absorption and reduces any risk of cramping or GI issues. Timing for whey. Prioritize post-workout within 1 to 2 hours. Beyond that, spread it wherever it fits your schedule. Some people like a shake for breakfast. Others prefer it as an afternoon snack. Do what's sustainable. Monitor your progress over 4 to 8 weeks minimum. Track your lifts, take progress photos, and see how you feel. Creatine typically shows noticeable strength improvements within 2 to 4 weeks. Muscle growth from adequate protein takes longer, usually visible changes after 6 to 12 weeks of consistent training and nutrition. What about cost? Let's be honest, that matters. Creatine is dirt cheap. A kilogram of creatine monohydrate, which is 200 servings at 5 grams each, costs around $20 or less. That's 10 cents per day. For something with this much research backing and this level of effectiveness, it's absurdly affordable. Whey protein is more variable, concentrate is cheaper than isolate, store brands are cheaper than premium brands. On average, expect to pay around $50 to $70 for a 5-pound tub. which gives you roughly 70 servings. That's about $1 per serving. If you're having one shake daily, that's $30 a month. Compare that to buying equivalent protein from meat, and Whey often wins. A 4-ounce chicken breast costs $2 to $4 depending on quality and location, and gives you about 30 grams of protein. A scoop of Whey costs $1 and gives you 25 grams. Pretty comparable, and Whey requires 0 prep time. The takeaway: this stack is affordable and cost-effective compared to most other supplements on the market that promise far less and deliver even less. Have you tried stacking creatine and Whey? What changes did you notice in your training or physique? Drop your experience in the comments because I genuinely want to hear from you. Real-world feedback helps everyone learn what works and what doesn't. And if you're getting serious value from these deep dive guides and you want to support the channel so we can keep making them, consider becoming a member or chipping in any amount you're comfortable with. No pressure, but every bit helps us invest in better research, better production, and more comprehensive content. You'll find the link below. Thanks for even considering it. Let's quickly touch on some advanced considerations. Can you take creatine and Whey together in the same shake? Absolutely. There's no interaction that prevents absorption or effectiveness. Some old myths suggested protein or carbs interfere with creatine uptake, but research shows this isn't true. In fact, combining creatine with carbs or protein might slightly enhance uptake due to insulin's effect on creatine transport into muscle cells. Mixing them is perfectly fine and convenient. What about other forms of creatine? You'll see creatine ethyl ester, buffered creatine, creatine HCl, and others marketed as superior to creatine monohydrate. The truth is, creatine monohydrate is still the gold standard. It's the most researched form, the most effective, and the cheapest. Newer forms claim better absorption or less bloating, but the evidence doesn't consistently support those claims. Save your money and stick with monohydrate unless you have a specific reason to try alternatives. What about Whey isolate versus concentrate? Isolate is more processed, has higher protein content per scoop, and almost no lactose or fat. Concentrate is less processed, slightly lower protein percentage, and contains small amounts of lactose and fat. Isolate is better if you're lactose intolerant or want maximum protein per calorie. Concentrate is fine for everyone else, and usually cheaper. Both work well for muscle building. Choose based on digestion tolerance and budget. Can you take too much? Technically, yes. Practically, it's hard. Creatine toxicity would require absurdly high doses far beyond any recommended amount. The upper limit isn't well established because nobody's found it. Don't take 50 grams daily just because you can, but typical doses of 3 to 5 grams are nowhere near any danger zone. For protein, excessive intake beyond about twice your body weight in grams daily starts to become impractical and potentially problematic. Your body will just oxidize the excess for energy or excrete it. You won't build extra muscle, you'll just have expensive urine. Plus, extremely high protein can displace other important macronutrients like carbs and fats that you also need for performance and health. Balance is key. What about dehydration? Creatine draws water into muscle cells. This doesn't dehydrate you unless you're not drinking enough water in the first place. The solution is simple. Drink more water. Aim for clear or pale yellow urine as a hydration indicator. If your pee looks like apple juice, drink more. If it's clear as water all day, you might be overhydrating, which has its own issues, but that's rare. What about cycling off? We covered this, but people still ask. You don't need to cycle creatine. Long-term continuous use is safe and effective. Your body doesn't stop responding. If you want to take a break for personal reasons, that's fine. You'll lose the muscle creatine saturation over a few weeks and go back to baseline. When you start again, you'll need to build it back up, but there's no physiological necessity to cycle. One more thing people wonder about: can women take creatine? 100% yes. There's no gender-specific risk or reason to avoid it. Women respond to creatine supplementation just as well as men in terms of strength and power improvements. The water weight gain might be slightly less noticeable in women, but the performance benefits are equal. Some women worry about looking bulky. Let's be clear, creatine doesn't make you bulky. Training with progressive overload and eating in a caloric surplus builds muscle. Creatine helps you train harder, which can support muscle growth if that's your goal, but it doesn't cause unwanted bulk. If you're training for strength without eating extra calories, you'll get stronger without significant size increase. Creatine just optimizes the process. Similarly, whey protein doesn't make women bulky. It's protein. Women need protein just as much as men for recovery and muscle maintenance. The idea that protein shakes are only for men is outdated nonsense rooted in marketing and stereotypes. Ignore it. So here's the bottom line. Creatine and whey protein are the two most evidence-backed, cost-effective, safe supplements for anyone serious about building muscle and strength. Creatine improves your performance capacity, allowing you to train harder and longer. Whey provides the raw materials and signals your body needs to recover and grow from that training. Together, they cover both sides of the muscle-building equation. The dosing is straightforward. 3 to 5 grams of creatine daily. Consistent timing doesn't matter much. 25 to 40 grams of whey per serving, totaling enough to hit your daily protein target of roughly 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Timing matters more for whey, but still isn't magical. Get protein post-workout within a couple hours and spread the rest across your day. Avoid myths, focus on the science, and remember supplements work best on top of a solid foundation of whole foods, consistent training, adequate sleep, and stress management. If you have kidney disease, dairy allergies, or other medical conditions, consult your doctor before starting. For healthy individuals engaged in regular resistance training, this stack is as close to a no-brainer as supplements get. Start simple, stay consistent, track your progress, and adjust based on results. You don't need a dozen powders and pills. You need these two: a good program and patience. That's the formula. Train smart, fuel well. See you next time. Word count 3,000.